Welcome back to another video, and today I want to take a look at Hudson from Disney's Gargoyles by NECA. Now, if you haven't seen the Bronx video, please go check that out. I just recently put up a Bronx video, and that character is really cool. So let's get into taking a look at this guy here. He comes with a few accessories. Hey, look, if you're a Gargoyles fan, NECA is knocking these out of the park. And I know I said, started getting into the accessories thing, but listen, I have Goliath, and with Goliath, and I got Bronx, and I got those relaxed wings, it makes Goliath look 20 times better. It doesn't take up a whole lot of real estate. This guy here, he doesn't come with that, so he's probably going to go on the shelf like this without those giant wings, or maybe he will. I don't know. It all depends on how I choose to put him on there. But anyway, guys, if you are Gargoyle fans, this is a figure you definitely need for your collection. Now, I haven't seen the other ones, so I mean, I didn't get the girl because I didn't really, and maybe in the future, I don't know. But anyway, right now, let's talk about Hudson. Let's talk about his accessories, and let's get into taking a look at this figure. Starting off, we have his open, kind of clawing type hands. Next, we have his one and only, it's like a choking hand or grasping hand of some kind. It's not a weapon grasping hand. And next, we have his gripping hands or his weapon holding hands. And, on each one of these hands, and I didn't point it out, but the nails are painted, and that's great. I mean, that's really cool. Next, we have his tail, and his tail is bendy, so you can mold this to however you want it to go. This is the bottom, that's why it has the little holes there. But yes, this here is articulated. You have the ball peg here and the hinge, or the peg I should say, not ball peg, but the peg with the hinge, so the tail can move. However, if you put it side to side or up and down, it will move in that direction. Next, we have his wing, and I have both wings. I'm just showing off one because these things are huge, and you can see it takes up the whole frame of the camera. But look at that, the way they did the weathering of this ring, the wing and the holes. I mean, if anything, this reminds me of like Jeepers Creepers when they were on that bus and the wing came down and wrapped that guy up. So this is that right there. I mean, look at that, the line of that finger, that's what I call them, fingers, on the wings, because this is like an extra arm, right? So you have your hinge and then the plug for the wing, and then you have this extra finger here, like a gargoyle would have, or a dragon, or whatever winged creature. But yeah, I mean, look at the inside. It's a different color. Look at that beautiful markings in there to make it look leathery. Yeah, but these things are huge. They are huge, and you'll see them at the end of the video. They'll be on the figure itself, but yeah, these wings are massive. Next, we have Hudson's sword. So really nice this thing is. I love the way that it has the actual lines in the blade where it's taken damage from him using it in battle. I love the way that NECA has done the detail of that script inside the blade. Beautiful work, beautiful work. There's a little bit of black, brushing on here to give it some sort of detail to make it look older, weathered. Yeah, it's been used, and it's very old and beautiful. Like the gold, I love the way they did the wrap on the handle itself. I mean, that is just gorgeous. And then you have the actual tang at the end, which is done really nice. This is great work by NECA. Last but not least, we are looking at Hudson's angry head, or snarling, growling, screaming, whatever you want to say. I mean, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Here it is. Look at the detail in this thing. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. And what NECA is doing with these figures, I mean, from the Last Ronin to these gargoyle figures to, look, when they first started, there was a few things, but sculpt was never something that they chimped on, were cheap with, I guess. They weren't chintzy when it came to sculpting. Whoever's doing this work, beautiful. Look at that. Look at the little wash in the beard, the hair. the detail, everything. I mean, if you've ever seen this cartoon, you would say that these were brought straight out of the cartoon and put right into your collection, right onto your table. This is a beautiful head sculpt. Okay, so now let's talk about Hudson himself. Now this guy here, he's a big boy in general, but then again, some of the other gargoyles might be smaller than him. I know Goliath is taller or close to the same size. They're both close to kind of the same height, but anyway, this guy here, wow. I mean, yes, he has his fists also that he comes with, and the alternate, the head that comes on him is here. I mean, look at that. So he has kind of a scowling look on his face, right? And you can see that that eye from that scar on his face has been damaged, and I don't know if it's coming through, but you can tell that it's not the same as this eye over here. This is his good eye. This eye here, he has lost it. It's cloudy. But anyway, look at that head sculpt. That's gorgeous. Look at the armor. Look at the way they did the armor. It's just beautiful. Now look, I'm going to tell you this straight out. I mean, even the shirt, you can see the leathery look in the shirt, and then his tunic. He's got this big belt, like a big giant Santa Claus belt. This part of the belt that's curling over, it's rubbery. He has his little holster here, or somewhat of a sheath that holds his dagger or his knife. And then you come down to this part. I mean, it's all leathery. It's a little stiff. Some of it's softer in certain areas. And his pants, beautiful detail with the stitching down to the wraps on his legs, and then his feet, the giant gargoyle feet when you get to the bottom. I mean, his gauntlets, nice black, silver, beautifully done, all the way in the back. Look at the straps. That is awesome. You can see the peg holes where the wings go. They did outstanding work. Now, let's get into taking a look at his articulation. He can't really look up with the beard and the hair. He can turn his head side to side. There's really hardly any head tilt. There's a little bit, not much. Now you have the shoulders here, right? With this armor on there. So his arms, they're only gonna move out to a certain height, okay? Because this is gonna hinder it. And I'm okay with that because it's gargoyles and they don't really, and with NECA, the articulation on some of these, they're not the greatest. But for what you get in sculpt, and you do get some articulation, I'm not saying you don't. But so with the shoulder, we lost articulation with this armor here because it doesn't really give, it's very stiff, but yet you can get his arm out that far. So, I mean, you're gonna pose these guys and probably leave them in your collection. So to me, it's not a big deal that we lose a little bit of that stuff. You have a bicep swivel, you have double jointed elbows, and surprisingly, this guy's not too stiff. And what a great range of motion right there that you can get with this guy, right? When it comes to that. As far as a ab crunch, there really isn't one. His waist does swivel side to side. Yeah, his wrist, he has a wrist swivel, and his wrists move side to side as well. Moving down to the legs, his legs do move forward, okay? And then up in the joint there, it's a bit of a swivel, so you can turn it. Moving down to his knees, he's single jointed knee, but that's still not too bad for a single joint. I mean, that's good movement, right? And then you have down here at the bottom, you have a bit of a swivel for the foot, although this kind of hinders it a little bit. And then you have the articulation when it comes to the ball of foot, which they stand on. And they do have peg holes, but they don't come with a stand. And you can have him stand flat-footed. This will balance him out, but yet you can still have him, well, let's just put him up here. And you're not gonna get dynamic poses out of this guy either. And as you can see, without his tail, he can balance just fine with his feet. Just trying to get him to stand flat. And his feet do swivel out, so that way they don't, they're not sitting there kind of just facing forward or whatever. You can give him a little bit of some kind of standing stance. But as you can see, he will stand. And I do think I moved this leg forward, or I turned it. I did something wrong with it. So he's kind of awkward right now with what I have, the way I have him standing. He's kind of leaning to the side. He's slouching a little bit. There you go. All right, guys. So listen, that's all of his articulation and his paint sculpt and everything. I'm gonna put some wings on him and his tail and the alternate head and maybe some hands, his knife, whatever the case. And then we'll end this review with some comparisons. But yeah, I mean, look, just because you don't have a whole lot of articulation with these figures doesn't mean that you shouldn't pick it up, especially if you are a fan. It's definitely worth the price of admission. So let me get him situated into his wings and all that goodness, and then we'll get into comparison. All right, so I hope you enjoyed some of the poses I did with this guy. I mean, I know I didn't do a whole lot, but I just wanted to show off how the wings look, how the weapons look, the different hands, the different face sculpt, the fact that you can put him in a balance point on one leg, put him in the strut walk. Yeah. So with that being said, guys, let's take a look at him with some other figures. Let's take a look at some comparisons. Okay, so here's how he compares to Bronx, which is NECA Gargoyles. And here's how he compares to NECA's The Last Ronin Armored. Here's how he compares to NECA's The Last Ronin Unarmored. And last but not least, this is how he compares to NECA's Gargoyles Goliath. All right, so I just want to point out, now that you've seen how he compares to some of the other NECA stuff, these gargoyles are fabulous. I mean, the sculpts, everything, and Goliath is a big boy. He is a big boy, even with those wings. I mean, he's awesome now that he has the collapsed wings on him, and I do like the fact that he had the candy-coated wings like this guy here. But look how much real estate they actually take up. Now, I'm not knocking NECA for this because NECA's doing beautiful work with these figures. What I'm saying is that if you're going to collect these guys and you're going to have a collection of gargoyles, you might want to make sure you have enough room for the wings. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's cool. The wingspan is supposed to be there. Goliath always had his wings collapsed until he, had to handle business or whatever the case. Now these guys here, you can collapse the wings down, not the way Goliaths do, but the way I'm going to pose him is I'm just going to take the wings out. And if I want to have him flying in a flying pose or whatever the case is with his wings, then I will pose him. Me, I tell you, with my collection, I don't have the real estate to pose this guy, any of these guys, with their wings wide open. Now, if I do, like I said, I have to bring them up and I have to make sure that they are above everybody else with their wings open. And that's the only way it's going to work for me. For you, you may have that real estate. You might be able to do that, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's ultimately your choice. Me, I think they're doing a great job with this line. I love the sculpts that they're coming out with. The articulation may not be the greatest for them to get into some real deep posing, but I'm okay with that because the simple posing that I can do with them is good enough for me. So guys, that is my review on Hudson from NECA's Disney's Gargoyles. Let me tell you, pick them up if you can. If not, hey, that's cool too. But ultimately, it's your decision, your choice. You don't have to use these guys as Disney gargoyles. You could just use them as somebody who's coming in and just tearing up the battlefield if that's what you want to do on any of them. And that is what makes collecting so cool, because you can mix and match and move people anywhere, put them wherever you want, any galaxy, whatever you want to do. It's all in your imagination. So with that being said, I'm gonna let you guys go. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos, man. I'm loving it. 2023 has started off with a bang. We're doing pretty good here. We're moving up slowly, and that's all that matters. And it's all because of you guys. Thank you so much. So with that being said, guys, please drop a like, subscribe, share the videos, and as always, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you like it, if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Just tell me something. If you just want to say, what's up? You can do that too. But always hit that notification bell so you never miss out on anything new that we are putting up. And I will catch you all on the flippity flip.